Okay, I'm back with another video, and this video is basically about my top 5 disgusting bosses. Now, these are bosses in video games that basically just literally made me gag a little bit fighting them, or they just disgusted me mentally. And we'll go from number 5 all the way down to number 1, with a break between 2 and 1 for honorable mentions. Number 5. Broodmother from Dragon Age Origins. Oh, this boss was disgusting because of the implications that it wrought. Basically, spoiler alert if you haven't played Dragon Age Origins, a broodmother is what you get when you infect a female elf, dwarf, whatever the hell those weird people with the horns, human, with the taint, and then on top of that you make them eat the dead bodies of the tainted dead bodies of other people who have been infected. There is a chance that that female will become a broodmother. And depending on their race, dwarven broodmothers predominantly create genlocks. Human broodmothers predominantly produce herlocks. The weird horn women produce broodmothers produce ogres. Elves, those weird ass insect creatures. Basically, it's a terrifying thing that the women who have been taken by the darkspawn are turned into little brood machines, kind of like a termite or an ant queen, and just an egg-laying machine, except she's not producing eggs, she's producing darkspawn. That's terrifying and disgusting. As a matter of fact, the first time I played Dragon Age Origins and got to that point in the storyline and did that quest chain that took me down into the Underdark, to the Underdeep, where the dwarves had been fighting darkspawn for years, and I had to fight those the broodmother. I would not have been as surprised had BioWare created a conversation point where Alistair would have been like, you know what? Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I'm leaving. This is too much. This is too much. Because really, the broodmother, too much. Number 4, disgusting boss. Every single enemy in the Genesis game, Alien Soldier. Now, this game originally was released on the Sega Genesis TV, the Sega channel, which, was Sega's answer to Nintendo's Saddle of You, that was in a few US markets, but mostly in Japan, and they expanded here in America. And for like 15, 20, 25 bucks a month, you could add the Sega channel. You put a little attachment on your Sega Genesis, and you got to play games. And one of these games was a Sega channel exclusive called Alien Soldier. Alien Soldier is basically it's a game that's made up entirely of mid-bosses and big bosses, with a little bit of smaller enemies to refill your ammo reserves. The whole game is nothing but boss battles, and some of these bosses were disgusting. I mean, freakish looking. And it was fun killing them. Number 3, game with the most interesting bosses in video gamedom. I'm gonna have to say it, and it needs to be said. That absolutely freakishly disgusting Super Contra. Super Contra had some of the most disgusting bosses I have ever seen. The final few mini bosses you have to face on your way to Red Falcon at the end of that game, ugh, That whole level is just disgusting, but the bosses, ugh, disgusting. Number 2 most disgusting boss I've ever fought in a video game is the weird ass um, freaky Dread Witch from Mass Effect 3, which is an Asari matron that's been basically transformed. That thing, ugh, freakish. Freakish. Which brings me to the honorable mentions coming up next. Okay, here's the honorable mentions. There are 3 of them. Number 3 honorable mention, the Great Mighty Pooh from Conker's Bad Fur Day. Now this game, this boss would be on this list except for one thing. He was funny as hell, so it kind of is balanced out. Funny as hell, okay? Funny as hell. Number 3, funny boss. Number 3 disgusting boss that didn't quite make the list. And that is the Crate Dragon from KOTOR, the original KOTOR. Kinda disgusting, but not really the worst boss ever, okay? And you don't really have to fight him, you just have to get him into a trap, so he gets a pass. And the number 1 honorable mention disgusting boss that didn't quite make this list was Big Bone from Conker's Bad Fur Day. Because basically an ugly, disgusting giant caveman having his butt bitten by a dinosaur, that is just disgusting, but the humor kind of balances out that whole disgustingness. Okay, now on to the number 1 most disgusting boss I've ever fought in a video game, ever. Okay, it's time for the number 1 most disgusting boss I've ever fought in a video game. And this was a tough call, okay? Because I've played a lot of video games with bosses that just kind of almost gave you nightmares afterwards. But the number 1 most disgusting boss is none other than the Devil from Shadow Man. That boss from that game, and his true final form, is a real SOB. And kind of creepy looking. Like, even now that I'm playing it on Steam, on my PC, he's still a very tough boss. And you know, that just, it's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy facing bosses that look that creepy. I'll leave a link in the discussion thread for people to, for the Questionathon coming up this Sunday, live, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and 5 Pacific Standard Time. So, ask your questions, y'all. Ask your questions. So, you know, any games that had disgusting bosses that disturbed you, leave them in the comment section.